Hello, nice to meet you. This is Gabin Do, and I'm from South Korea, and I'm studying sociology, and I'm from Seoul National University. And today I'm going to present my research about precarity in digital labor beyond vulnerability in content moderation work, and a case study focusing on South Korean content moderators. Okay. Social media has become a central industry in the digital age, and these companies primarily generate profits by leveraging diverse user-generated data. Major platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, and so on, use AI to detect and remove harmful content, extensively promoting these efforts to assure users of a safe online experience. Contrary to popular belief, AI is far from perfect. AI often struggle to consistently detect harmful content, and if such harmful material slips through, the user base of that social media platform could diminish rapidly. So how they fill the gaps left by this imperfect technology? The answer lies in human labor. It is the often invisible work of human content moderators that ensure platforms remain safe, stepping in where AI falls short. So who are the content moderators? The role of these human workers is to review harmful and inappropriate content on social media platforms, ensuring that the content meets community guidelines. There are over 100,000 content moderators working globally, and this content moderators' labor can be described as a digital cleaning service. Looking at the left diagram, you can see that AI filtering systems have grown more sophisticated. Although only 10% of content requires human review, this still represents a vast number of almost needing cultural and linguistic nuisance for accurate judgment. And the second diagram shows how content moderators are involved in the content filtering process on social media. So the content moderation is categorized as a HIT labor, which supplements AI by performing tasks that require human judgments. This type of labor is outsourced through business process outsourcing companies, often located in low-wage regions, and the reliance of BPO companies normalizes job insecurity, low wages, temporary contracts, and the lack of labor protections. So content moderators are frequently exposed to harmful material, leading to mental health issues. Unfortunately, many companies fail to provide proper mental health support. While most HIT labor is typically outsourced through crowd work platforms, content moderation often operates from offline workplaces to ensure direct supervision, essential for 24/7 real-time content filtering. Thus, content moderation emerges as an quasi-essential form of precarious digital labor marked by employment instability, strict control mechanisms, and mental health risks, defining features of this essential but often invisible work. Then it makes me wonder, why do people participate in such precarious work? I mean, why do they continue in these roles despite the risks? And how do they navigate and adapt to these precarious conditions? Previous research often emphasizes how vulnerable content moderators endure poor conditions out of their job loss, and focusing on structural factors like low wages, job insecurity, and material distress. Mental distress. This approach, however, overlooks the complex social factors and coping strategies that influence their continued engagement in such work. What existing research often misses is a perspective that explains why content moderators persist in this work, like dirty work, how they adapt, cope, and reinterpret their roles within these conditions, bringing to light the complex factors involved. So addressing the gaps in prior research This study focuses on workers' agency, highlighting how they actively navigate and reinterpret precarious conditions. This approach offers insight into strategies shaped by their social positions and personal experiences. This research also contextualizes labor experiences within digital workplaces, viewing them as contested spaces where power dynamics between workers and employers coexist. The research further explores the social embeddedness of workers' experiences, examining how their social context shape their interpretation and continuation in precarious roles. To sum up, this study aims to reinterpret content moderation labor precarity by examining worker agency and social embeddednesses within broader social contexts. The research is particularly interested in understanding why workers continue in this work despite its risks and instabilities. So the research seeks to answer the following questions. How is the precarity of content moderator labor structured and experienced within digital workplaces? And how does social context influence the way content moderators navigate and sustain precarious labor conditions? And how is the precarity of low-skilled labor structured and sustained in the process of AI industry growth? So the research employs a qualitative approach, conducting semi-structured interviews within 13 content moderators. Everyone's are Koreans. And the data was analyzed using a grounded theory approach. To briefly describe the interviews' characteristics, the interviews averaged 1 year and 11 months in employment, aligning with global trends of content moderators living within 24 months due to their mental stress and the issues, and most were on non-regular contracts lasting 3 months to 2 years, with wages near Korea's minimum wage and shifts of 8 to 12 hours daily. This diagram summarizes the key findings of the data analysis. And the first key finding from the data analysis addresses the research question: how is the precarity of content moderation labor structured and experienced within digital workplace? Content moderator workplaces use layered control mechanisms and JIT system, just-in-time systems that restricted autonomy through surveillance and mechanical pacing. Workers were expected to act mechanically, but think critically, and balancing speed with thoughtful decisions, leading to frustration as they struggle to combine precision with empathy. Another significant form of the control was time management. Workers' break times and even bathroom breaks were strictly monitored. This created an environment of constant observation with little flexibility to manage personal time. And companies use gamification elements like leaderboards and incentives to drive workers' engagement and compliance. Content moderators served as multifunctional workers, handling both content review and additional duties like team meetings and user inquiries. Due to constant exposure to harmful content, emotional well-being was emphasized, with companies assessing coping abilities during hiring. Though workers still experienced emotional exhaustion. However, workers actively resisted their difficult conditions by utilizing internal policies for role change and department transfers to gain more autonomy and reduce exposure to harmful content. They also negotiated with managers for better conditions, such as requesting transfers from video moderation to comment moderation teams to protect their mental health. And content moderators found ways to navigate surveillance by bypassing harmful content and avoid difficulties tasks to protect their mental health. Workers also collaborated to manage workloads, sharing strategies and coordinating throughout informal networks while adopting a work only as much as paid mindset, since high performance only led to increase the workloads. And workers, the second question is how does social context influence the way content moderators navigate and sustain precarious labor conditions? Oh, did I? Oh, okay. I skipped one thing. The workers faced pressure to suppress their emotional struggles and maintain composure, fearing being labeled unfit for the job. They developed personal coping strategies like smoking and peer discussions, avoiding company counseling to prevent negative evaluations. Despite unstable conditions and strict controls, workers remain engaged by reviewing their role in content moderations as socially meaningful in mitigating social risks. And the second question is like that. And the woman with career gaps due to childbirth and childcare often turn to content moderation as one of their few accessible employment options, especially after maternity leave or layoffs. Despite facing strict controls and unreasonable demands, these workers endure the conditions due to limited alternatives and the need to balance work with parenting, creating high dependency on these jobs. On the other side, the young workers and content moderators viewed their positions as temporary stepping stones in the IT industry, accepting difficult conditions with optimism about future career prospects. They mentally distanced themselves by identifying as temporary workers or students rather than permanent staff and maintaining hope that this experience would be leading them to better opportunities. And the people, like workers with negative work experience before in the service industry, found content moderation job as less stressful as it lacked content customer interactions and constant customer interactions and high emotional demands, creating a more meaningful, manageable environment. And many viewed the content moderation as offering better work-life balance compared to previous jobs with straightforward tasks and no lingering expectations. And these are the comments that the interviewers gave. And the freelancers appreciated the stability of content moderation over gig work, offering reliable income for those facing financial uncertainty. And lastly, some workers interpreted strict workplaces controls as suiting their personal preference. For example, one interview said she was not naturally social person and felt more comfortable in content moderation setting where talking to colleagues was restricted. And workers held idealized views of global tech firms and leading to a more positive interpretation of demanding and potentially exploitative practices. In summary, workers with prolonged exposure to unstable employment and poor work-life balance tended to view content moderation conditions more favorably. In conclusion, the study explored why moderators persist in unstable work and how the AI industry manage low-skilled labor. Digital workplaces use complex controls, but workers actively adapt and negotiate. Workers interpret their roles differently based on social contexts and use various strategies for better conditions. The research results could say that the AI industry leverages labor precarity for growth, using employment instability to encourage voluntary worker intensifications while maintaining flexible costs. And thought career career narratives and control strategies, it secures worker engagement and self-regulation. This reveals labor precarity as a structural feature, not a side effect of AI industry growth. So the study requires a deeper analysis in some areas. First, the study needs a better understanding for how industry strategies connect to actual labor practices, requiring balanced investigation of both workers' experiences and company approaches. Secondly, the analysis of social context lacked depth. More rigorous examination of factors like economic backgrounds, education level, and other factors, and their intersection is needed to fully understand how social contexts shape precarious labor conditions. These limitations point to important direction for future research, suggesting the need for a more comprehensive and balanced understanding of precarity in digital labor. Thank you for listening.